This story ain't just a regular story. It's a love story between two people, but only one of them is human because the other guy is actually a giant gorilla. Yep, that's right, folks. Let's get right into it. So, there's this girl named Anne. She's a theater artist and makes people laugh every day with her talent, and that's how she gets by. But then one day, her life hits a wall. Her livelihood is snatched away because her theater shuts down, and now she's totally broke. But she's not the only one who's mad and fed up with her life. Turns out, there's this dude named Carl, and he ain't getting any respect for his work either. He's a filmmaker, but the directors and producers ain't feeling the movies he's making. They're saying they ain't seeing anything new. Even though Carl tells them if they throw a little money at his project, he can show them something totally new, because he's found a place no one's ever been. But they don't listen to him. They were even talking about selling his half-finished reel. But Carl ain't about to let his hard work get trashed like that. So he grabs his reels and gets out of there. Because he's got to finish his film, and for that, he needs a lead actress. But nobody's willing to work with him because his career is sinking fast. Meanwhile, Anne ends up at a place she never should have been while looking for a job. But what's she gonna do? She had no other choice, but today might just be a different day for her, because she meets Carl at that same cafe, and he was looking for an actress just like her. But Anne's not a fan of his story at all, because it's only about animals and nature. But after thinking about it for a while, she says yes, because if this gig falls through too, she's gonna be totally broke. So now Carl gets everyone on a boat, because it's gonna be a long journey. And it's going to be full of romance. And it's not just going to be him and his crew, it's going to be all of us. Let's get on this adventure. There was a guy named Jack on this boat too, who was an author and a screenwriter. Carl had to really convince him for him to finally agree to work for him. There was also a captain, who Carl tricked by promising to hunt wild animals. Turns out he loves to trap animals, and the place they're going to is a place no one's ever heard of. And there might be an extinct species there, and some other people think the place they're headed ain't safe because they've read that some islands aren't made for humans, because there are some different kinds of humans living there who are people, but they've got a totally different and weird way of life. But Carl's a real nut job. He can't see anything but his movie. That's why he tricked everyone into following him all the way out here. Slowly their journey begins, but their destination is still a long way off. But all the people on the boat are strangers, so the first few days were all about getting to know each other. Like Jack, who found out the captain had some cages in the bottom of the boat, along with some chloroform. That's the stuff that makes you pass out. When he asks why, he finds out all that stuff is for the animals they're gonna find there. Anyway, Jack doesn't care about that stuff, so he goes back up on deck. Over there, Anne also starts shooting her scenes, and Carl starts shooting some scenes for his film right there on the boat. But one night, when a scary darkness covers everything, they can't see the way forward anymore. So the captain tries to find his way with the stars. But because of the fog, he can't see him anymore either, which causes their boat to start shaking, which is a signal for danger. But Carl has to get to the island as soon as possible, and that's why he tells them to speed up. But his decision gets everyone stuck because their boat hits a rock and gets stuck there. The captain tries a lot to get it out, but he can't. The next day, at Carl's request, these people head toward the island in a small boat. There were only a few people on it, including the film's cast. Carl keeps recording the whole way on his camera. Turns out this island is surrounded by high mountains. That's why anyone who tries to get close to it gets stuck in those mountains or just turns back, because the danger of drowning in the sea starts to hang over them. Anyway, now these people set foot on the island. Just then a big cave appears in front of them, and inside it, skeletons were decorated like a medal, which makes Jack say they should get out of there. Maybe that place ain't right for him. But Carl knows that this is the place, so he goes even further in. He sees that a city's being built there, and a little kid is standing at the gate. Anne sees him and says, "Let's go." But Carl goes to feed him some chocolate, thinking he'll let him in, but he bites his hand off, and then all of a sudden, some weird cannibals attack him from all sides, and two of their people get their necks cut off. And Anne and Jack were held on tight, which means they're about to eat him raw. But Carl was in the worst condition, because everyone was on his neck. It was like his head was going to be cut off next. Before anything else happens, the captain shows up and fires his gun, which makes everyone run away in fear. Now these people run to the ship, but the adventure has only just begun, because those people took Anne with them, and they're about to sacrifice her to the god of the island that protects it. Now when the others find out Anne ain't there, they go back. But by then, my friend, it was too late. Those cannibals had put Anne on a cross. Then a giant shadow appears in front of him, and we can only see its hands. There was no sign of Anne in his fist. Now, all these people go looking for Anne. They find the city gate closed, which means everything's over now. They now head toward the jungle. Maybe Anne's there somewhere, which was true. Yep, that's right, my friends. She's alive. She was right there. When she opens her eyes, a Kong is standing in front of her, looking at her real closely. But when Anne sees him, she gets scared and tries to run away. But he keeps catching her every time. Then Anne also realizes that if he really wanted to kill her or eat her, he would have done it a long time ago. He doesn't want to do that, like what was read and seen about him. That's why she starts to juggle in front of him, so she can make him happy. Now he's happy for a long time and laughs, but after a while, she gets tired. So Kong gets mad like a little kid and sits down. But Anne explains to him that she can't do this continuously. But he doesn't agree to that. But on this side, a mountain of problems falls on the crew. First off, they had to face some weird animals at night. But they couldn't kill them. But the next morning, they reached the biggest flock of animals of the century, dinosaurs, which Carl starts shooting on his camera. Because of this, they get noticed by him. So what happens next? These people are running ahead, and those dinosaurs are running behind them to eat them. But somehow, these people get out of there. But later, they face Kong. As soon as they see him, they start shooting at him. And this makes him super angry. He attacks them. Everyone falls down. Anne takes advantage of this and runs away. But this was her biggest mistake, because she's now in the eyes of those cannibal dinosaurs who want to make her their lunch. But poor Anne hides in a tree branch, hoping they won't be able to see her. But he was right next to her and was about to eat her. But then Kong shows up, and he comes flying and grabs Anne in his fist and starts fighting those two dinosaurs. Now there was a lot of flying around, but he didn't let anything happen to Anne. Instead, he keeps her close to his chest. There was a lot of bloodshed, but still in the end, the dinosaurs survive, which makes Kong now invite him to an open field to fight. He tells Anne to stand behind him, and then the fight begins. He was so angry that he separates his jaw in a few moments. Then he starts playing with him, but even after being so angry, when he saw Anne, he makes a face because he's still mad. You must know why? Anne was also shocked to see his innocence because she never thought that. A giant gorilla would risk his life just to save her. Now all the crew members are alive, but they're trying their best to reach Anne. To do that, they make a raft and decide to cross the river. But there were countless kinds of worms in it that no one had ever seen before. But now these people have seen them, so they'll have to fight them too. Although everyone fired their guns, it didn't do any good, it just caused harm. Jack falls into the water, and then he sees the real truth of the jungle, how dangerous it really is. Those scary worms are chewing on their friends like chewing gum. Meanwhile, one of Carl's friends falls into the water with a camera, but Carl saves his camera first because the film is more important to him than his friend. That's why they lost many of their friends in this river. But in the end, some survive and reach the shore. But the danger ain't over yet. On the other side, the first page of love is about to be turned. Yeah, Anne now realizes Kong wants to be her friend. He just wants to hang out with her. But first she has to convince him because he's mad. And that's why she starts to juggle in front of him again, which makes him laugh and spread his hands in front of her. Anne gets closer to him, and they both watch a beautiful sunset. But a little while later, Jack arrives there to take her because he saw her from a distance. Before he could get her away from Kong, he wakes up. But he doesn't kill him. But some dangerous bats try to save her from him. So now these two get down with the help of a rope. But Carl doesn't give him permission to take down the bridge because his plan was something else. He wanted to catch Kong so he could take him to the city with him, so he could show him off and get a bunch of money. So this is the real definition of a human. He looks for a reason in everything he does. Well, one of Carl's friends cuts the bridge rope and gets him down, which makes both of them come down. But now Kong arrives there, and these people try to trap him in their net. But how can some regular rope stop such a big animal? They just made him angry by doing that, which makes him now chase him like a hungry wolf. While Anne keeps telling everyone not to hurt him. He won't do anything to anyone. No one listens to her. Now these people run and reach their small boat, but Kong couldn't stand seeing them go away from him. He keeps telling her to come and sit on his hand, because that makes him happy. Although he knows that this ain't her home, but he wants to hold her on his hands one last time. But Carl was also a useless kind of guy. He keeps shooting at him, but those bullets ain't just hitting him, they're also hitting Anne in the chest. She keeps insisting on going to him. The rest of the people stop her. Then in the end, the captain throws a chloroform bottle at his face and makes him pass out. But even before he closes his eyes, he has his hands spread out, and both of their eyes were full of tears. But this is all a human can do, But other than Anne, there was one more soft-hearted human there who understood the beautiful relationship between them. That was Jack. This whole scene is super emotional. You can only feel it by watching it because it can't be described in words. Well, now everyone's come to the city. Carl's film becomes a blockbuster. He brought Kong here for his own benefit. He shows off his bravery to everyone. He presents him to him, although he himself doesn't know what kind of destruction he can cause if he wakes up. Not a single person's heart was melted among the thousands of people sitting in front of him. Now Jack has also arrived there. He was hoping Carl would give him credit for his writing, but he takes all the credit himself, which makes him feel really bad. Then Carl says that this ugly animal is just crazy for a girl. As soon as Kong hears this, he goes nuts. That anger inside him has now woken up. He starts to break everything everywhere, which makes everyone run away. Even Carl himself runs away with his tail between his legs. But Kong was right behind Jack while running. It's like he was asking him where she is, do you know? In search of Anne, Kong destroys the whole city, and he looks at every girl with white hair and thinks she's Anne. But every time, he's only disappointed. And meanwhile, the army has also arrived there, who keeps firing at him. But Kong doesn't stop. He's so passionate. It's like he has to find Anne no matter what. And when she comes in front of him, he stands like a statue and just looks at her. He asks her many questions in his language about where she went. At least she could have said goodbye to him. After Anne says something, he sits her on his hands, which was Anne's favorite place. After this, they both start to play in the snow. This was Kong's first experience with snow, and that too with a human, which he loves a lot. They both spend a lot of time together, but humans don't like this. They start shooting again, but Kong now climbs the tallest building in the city. Then airplanes arrive there and start shooting many bullets at him. And he looks at him and it's like he's saying, "Don't do this. I just came to meet my friend and I'll go back." But the brutality continues. There was only one human who kept coming in front of him to save him. That was Anne. She was standing in front of him this time too, and was saying to those pilots, "Please don't kill him. He won't do anything to us." But by then, my friend, it was too late. Kong is very injured. That's why he holds her in his hands for the last time, and then expresses his love for her by looking in her eyes. And Anne also understands. And that's why she apologizes to him on behalf of all of humanity and society, for which Kong might forgive her, because he only came to meet Anne. Then all of a sudden, a missile comes from behind and hits Kong directly, and he falls down from a 200-story building. This is the most emotional scene of the story, which is very hard to describe in words. The people below stand on top of Kong and start taking pictures. Some of them even call him a fool, saying he died by falling from such a high building for no reason. Some say he was killed by the army's bullets. But when Carl arrives, he says that your bullets didn't kill him, but her beauty did. And with that, the story ends right here. Well, what'd you think of the story? Let us know in the comments. See you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.